Greetings and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me online at thesorcerersguild.com or on Facebook at the Sorcerers Guild. Okay, so today we are going to be bringing the Gourd Golem Garden project into alignment with the S1 project in preparation for May 5th. Okay, so for those of you that have been following along, the Gourd Golem project started with some onesabin as a response to COVID and all the things that have been going on lately down here on the material plane. And of course, it involved the growing of gourds deep within the earth and was centered in the material plane, while the S1 project was rooted in the astral plane, working its way down to the material plane. Now, as these two projects align, which they have been designed to do since the beginning, the some ones have been Gourd project working again on the material plane, trying to improve what is going on down here, but also reaching up to the astral to draw that energy down to the material plane. And the S1 project on the other side has been reaching to help create that bridge. And so we are at that juncture now where the two will be joined. And to do that, we are going to take the next step in creating Gordon into a golem, as well as germinating the seeds of a new world from inside of him. Okay, so I will now cut to the working bits of how we got here. Okay, so we're going to be taking the next step and adding Gordon to the S1 project, combining the Hope Grows in the Garden and the S1 project together within these final days of the working. They've actually been intended to be going together at some point, but they are working from separate planes. The S1 project, of course, being primarily on the astral plane, where these gourd golems and the Hope Growing in the Garden is, of course, reaching up, growing from the material plane up to the astral and the S1 project. Okay, so today what we will be doing is we will be doing some stuff to activate Gordon. I'll be filming a bit on that here in a bit. And if you remember the dove from this summer that actually just kind of died on my front porch, there's a little bit of video there. I didn't say in those videos that he died, but that's what happened, is that dove just kind of showed up on the front porch, died, and I eventually wound up being instructed to preserve its skull for this moment. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to more of that. But since that dove's death, it has actually been inside this silver chalice, being stripped of base programming while containing the potential to hold life force and the actual building blocks of what a being is was still being maintained in the skull, but the rest was being stripped away by the salt inside this silver chalice in preparation to create a working component within the next step of Gordon, which we'll be getting to here in just a moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and prepare Gordon for the next step. And in order to do that, we're actually going to have to go ahead and cut into him just a little bit. So we're going to blow some smoke on him. Just to kind of keep him calm. Like an anesthesia, just like you would do to anybody if you were about to do surgery on them. Na, na, na. Go to bed, close your eyes, go to sleep, my friend. Okay, now that we have kind of calmed Gordon down and prepared him for what is about to happen, we're going to go ahead and get to work. I think we will start at the lower end. And the first thing we're going to do is find a better way to cut those out. I should really be wearing safety glasses. So, let's do that.
Give us some safety glasses here. I do have those. I usually wear them. Got distracted. And that's a little harder than we expected, so we're going to change instruments. Those are not safety glasses. Okay. Probably going to wind up having to edit this out. We'll see. No, if you just say that, you wind up having to edit. Okay. So, we're just going to keep going, though. This happens however it happens. I forgot how bad I was at using those. Okay, so then, we're going to use this thing here.
Okay, so now that Gordon is completed, you'll see we have cut out both the eyes, this one leaving a bit of a pupil for that cool little symbol that came on his eye there. So we left one pupil in, leaving him like this. There are nose holes and a mouth hole and a large hole where we will be getting the seeds out to germinate the seeds for a new world, but also where we will be putting the dove skull in to help create that soul, to give his new form more cohesion. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the ritual. The first step will be to get those seeds out. We're going to get as many as we can out of the hole, and we'll be dropping them into here. We'll be adding a little more water later, but for now we're going to get as many as we can out without, going crazy. And then we will go ahead and sit Gordon back down for a moment. And the seeds are being germinated in this bucket here. I'll be taking it outside during the day where there's light. You can see it has the servitor sigil all over it, as well as the 4 that we have been working on with the S1 project. And then it's got now, oh, I heard to get that. Oh, they just got covered. Anyways, the seeds are all in there. It's all ready. And this water here, it's in the copper goblet, is actually from my tanks. And we'll be adding water more on a daily basis. But then seeds are just lightly under there, and we're going to be getting them wet. We'll actually be adding quite a bit more water here in a bit, but for the ritual, that's good enough. Okay, so now that those seeds are getting ready to germinate, we'll go ahead and sit those down out of the way. And there is more that will be going on with Gordon, but this first step is to awaken that Ka. So, we have this dove skull, which in a previous video last summer, I actually have a short video where this dove actually had come right onto my doorstep, and I attempted to save it, but apparently it just wasn't able to save. After a few days, the bird died, and I saved its skull and preserved it in this silver chalice along with a large amount of salt to strip away any suffering or any negative energy that was associated with the bird's death. But since it literally came to me, I felt it was an appropriate skull to use for this project. So now that Gordon is ready for that next step, we'll be using this bird's skull to create the caw, which we will begin inflating. So, we'll place that directly in that same hole. It should be just big enough, hopefully. Let me finesse this a little. We don't want to break that skull. There we are. Okay, and now that the skull is in, we'll be blowing some smoke into Gordon. Gordon, rise. Gordon, come. Gordon. We'll be doing that 3 times. One more. Once the spell is completed, I will be placing Gordon back where he was on my altar here in just a bit. In the meantime, there is no additional sigil for us to be working on at this time, but I would like to give you some updates. Since it's been a while, yeah? I haven't posted for about 3 weeks, I think. We have been working with this project, and I have been contemplating how I was going to get the seeds out of Gordon without doing him any harm, and how I could connect the 2 projects properly. My dreams have been focusing a lot on this particular aspect of the project, where I've been dreaming about the bridge that we have been creating on with the S1 project, reaching down into the garden. And those seeds that I'm beginning to germinate will be planted in several gardens throughout the area. They won't all just be planted here, but they will be planted in several areas to give a larger net, another anchor point, if you will, for the S1 project to reach its bridge across into the material plane. Okay, so I don't know when necessarily I'll be posting again, but as I said before, most of the videos between now and May 5th will have something to do with that event, and I'm not going to be able to keep to a regular schedule as much as I have in the past. Which was semi-regular, if we were being honest with each other, yeah? Okay, so that will be it for this episode. Thank you once again for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. Until next time, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.